And with fuel costs from just 2p a mile, you'll have even more of this. Switch to the electric side of driving. Book your 4-day test drive in the Nissan Leaf today on 01923 899 899. And after 4 days, you'll feel more like this.
We don't have a sound effect for amazing.
Nissan. Innovation that excites. Nissan Leaf can travel up to 124 miles on a single charge. T's and C's apply. See nissan.co.uk/Leaf 4-day.
You've joined us at a very good time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Our savvy software development guys have just qualified for a chunky government cash payout, thanks to our new friends from Breakthrough Funding. Yeah, sorry, that just slipped out.
Government handout?
No, not a handout, but recognition for our clever thinking. Now it'll be down to you to help us kick it further forward.
Leave it to me.
Your company could qualify for Innovation Cash too. Find out online now by answering just 6 qualifying questions at breakthroughfunding.com. Yeah!
James O'Brien on LBC.
9 minutes to 12 is the time. You're listening to James O'Brien on LBC. Coming up in the rest of the programme before 1 o'clock, I'll reveal to you exactly what men are for. Scientists have finally worked out why evolution hasn't done with the male of the species generations ago. And I'm also going to be turning your attention to Joanna Lumley's ludicrous comments regarding urban foxes. A little bit more gay cake on the way. But before all of that, we have another mayoral contender in the studio. It was Sadiq Khan last week. This week it is Tessa Jowell, who has just hot-footed it here from Brixton, Tessa, where you've been launching your campaign officially.
I have indeed,
no one's
James.
going to die of shock as a result of this intervention.
I don't think so. I think I made it very clear I was going to do this, but not till after the elections. So I announced at Brixton Green this morning.
Why do you want to be mayor?
I want to be mayor because I'm a Londoner. I love London, and I can also see all around the crisis which is facing London and the risk that London becomes two cities, a city of the super rich and a city of the very poor, the disappearance of mixed communities from inner London. And I've been in public life for a number of years. I feel I've got a lot of experience to put at the service of Londoners, and that's what I want to do, to build one London.
How much power do you have then as mayor? Because, of course, the most recent incumbent of the office seemed to be possibly in it really more for personal PR value than for any grand political vision. I think even the bikes that bear Boris's name were Ken Livingstone's idea. So a sort of glorified transport commissioner is what it looks like sometimes from the sidelines.
No, to be mayor of the greatest city in the world is a powerful position. But you're absolutely right that you could have a mayor, and I think this mayor has at times been purely ceremonial, but it's a huge executive job. I think we saw that, to be fair, under Ken. You're in charge of London's transport, policing, and as I've made absolutely clear this morning, the biggest crisis facing London is the shortage of homes, not just...
So what can you do as mayor to fix that?
Well, what I've said this morning is that I'm going to, day one, if I get elected, on the 6th of May next year, James, I will set up a task force, Homes for Londoners, right at the heart of City Hall. I will recruit the best technical experts around the world to get London building again, applying a kind of Olympic-like discipline and sense of urgency.
That's a talking shop, though, Tessa Jowell.
It's certainly not a talking shop. You know, if you want to unpick some of the reasons for delay, why are all these sites lying empty round London?
Well, I've heard Boris ask that question in the past. He even came up with a policy.
He's the mayor. He can answer it. I will answer that question, and I'll tell you, you have to have more capacity and technical know-how in City Hall in order to get the boroughs building faster, and also to broker the agreements with developers so that we have more affordable housing. And where you start, James, is by building on the land that the mayor owns. Transport for London, I didn't know this till quite recently, you know. Transport for London have 5,700 acres of land they're not using. That's like, that's land the size of the borough of Camden. You can build, at a conservative estimate, the most conservative estimate, about 2,000 homes on that line. So, you know, this would be a task force in a hurry to tackle London's housing crisis. And, you know, people who are listening to this programme, I bet every one of them either bears the impact of this pressure on homes in London, or they know somebody who does.
It's true, and yet you mentioned how long you'd been in politics yourself. I guess some people will wonder why you haven't already got the answers to these sort of questions. As a respected London MP, we've looked at some of these housing shortages now, it feels, for 2 or 3 generations, and the idea that there's something fresh about A, citing the shortage, and B, looking for answers could sound...
I've never applied for the job to be Mayor of London before.
No, but the housing shortage is relevant to other offices.
Of course it is,
as well.
and I've talked about it a lot. I've dealt with it with my constituents that I've represented for the last 23 years. You may remember that affordable housing, social housing, was integral to the development of the Olympic Park. 3,000 homes built on budget and on time.
So it's doable.
Of course it's doable, but it's doable, like all these things, with 2 things: will, the know-how, building the right team, and never taking no for an answer, and remaining focused on it. You know, I think one of the great mistakes in politics, and this is part of the disaffection with politics, is that, you know, there are politicians who believe that once you've made the speech, you know, it's all changed, everything has happened. And if I'm going to, as Mayor of London, tackle the housing crisis that faces Londoners, then I have to be focused on that from day one. It means there are lots of other things you can't do. You probably can't do as much of the ceremonial, drifting around the place, being the mayor. You have to be focused on building those homes that Londoners need.
Who will cut our ribbons if you're busy focusing
we do the odd ribbon, but you know,
houses. Who's your biggest rival?
Well, we don't yet know who...
Well, the ones we do know.
We don't yet know who the Tories are going to put up, and we don't yet know... well, I think we probably know who all the Labour's...
who do you fear the most out of them?
Well, I think it's too early to say. I think they're all, you know, Diane Abbott, Sadiq Khan, all bring
when you sit
something.
down with your chief of staff later, you will have someone on the list. You both agree. You'll both say, well, they're the ones we need to watch. Who is it?
I think that Diane is probably the best known other candidate, and Sadiq has been, you know, he was Ed Miliband's campaign manager. He's been very close to the leadership of the party. He's become known
in that context. Is that a criticism or a compliment?
It's a description of what he's done. But, you know, what I hope, James, we're all in the same party, and I hope that in the course of this contest, as I will them, everybody will treat each other's campaign with respect. We're all part of the same party. Whoever wins should expect the loyalty and support of all the other contenders when the result is known.
How did you feel at 10 o'clock last 2 Thursday nights ago?
I couldn't believe when I saw the exit poll. I'd been, you see, I was one of 3 or 4 people who were going to do television on the BBC and comment on the results as they were coming in. I was in Labour Party headquarters late afternoon in discussion about how we were going to talk about the kind of coalition we might build. We expected to be the largest or the second largest party, therefore in with a shout for building a government. And so to go from that to the publication of the exit poll, I just could not believe it. But I had always been worried about shy Tories. You know, the people who know they're not going to vote for you, don't want to say we're not going to vote for you, and well, I think just didn't understand enough about the impact of what Labour was offering on them and their families. And these are private decisions taken, you know, behind the front door. I don't think it's, in the light of that, surprising. There were a lot of shy Tories, and there were a lot of people who weren't going to vote for us. But, you know, when you're in a campaign, and I went all over London because I wasn't standing in my own constituency, taking groups of volunteers in to support candidates in our marginal seats. And we had some absolutely wonderful candidates, and 7 of them have become MPs, and they'll serve our city and their constituents really well. But
Labour won London, didn't they? I mean, Labour won London.
Yes,
it's a sort of anomaly, really, in the context of the country.
Labour won, but we didn't win all the seats that we expected to win. And what I always caution against, because I think Londoners just dislike it, a sense of presumption. You know, we can't presume that London is a Labour city. London can be won by Labour values, and I hope the kind of policies that I would put forward as mayor. But you can't just say London's a Labour city and therefore, you know, we don't need to work that hard. We have to work very hard to build a coalition of support, right across the city, of people who share our values and want to be part of tackling this crisis that's facing London and building one London.
2 more questions, Tessa Jowell. First, what will you do with Boris's water cannon if you end up in City Hall?
Oh, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to use water cannon.
And secondly, who do you want to be the next leader of the Labour Party?
I'm not endorsing anybody. I think it's too early. And I think they've all got to, set their stall out. They've got to kind of step their strut or stride their step or whatever it is. We've got to know them all better. But I don't expect...
You could have just said, I'm not answering.
No, I don't expect them to endorse me, and I am not going to endorse them. I'm here because I want to be the Labour candidate as Mayor of London to build one London, James.
Indeed you do. Tessa Jowell, many thanks indeed. The time now is 1 minute after 12. In the next hour, we turn your attention to Joanna Lumley's bizarre intervention regarding urban foxes. We solve the mystery of the male of the species' survival. We have a couple more slices of gay cake, and who knows what other delights might pop up as well. It's 12:01.
On FM, online, on your mobile and on digital radio. Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 12 o'clock.